to episode 58. Getting promoted doesn't make you a leader. Most people think that when you move from a peer to a leader role, that all you have to do is get the title, the team's going to respect you, everything's going to fall into place. Not right. That's not how it works. In fact, the actions you've taken before that, the way you carry yourself, what you're known for, that's what makes you a leader, not the title. So it is a delicate transition moving from a peer to a leader. And I want to break it down for you today. I want to talk to you about the strategies, the things to watch out for, the mindset shifts you need to make, because it's not going to be as easy as you might expect. There is a little bit of nuance, a little bit of difficulty to it. So before we do that, I want to give you a quick update on what I've been into recently. So just got back from a trip to the Grand Canyon with the wifey. We took the dogs. It was like a 4-hour trip. We get there, we open up the door. And I got to tell you, the first thing that my dog did was run right for the edge. I had her on a leash and we were getting out of the car and we parked pretty close to right to the actual ledge. And I got to tell you, this dog, if I didn't stop her, she would have jumped into the freaking Grand Canyon. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if it's just my lab. I don't know if she's stupid or if I'm a bad owner. But anyways, we got a laugh out of that. Put her in the car. Took care of her, had a blast. But honestly, I got to tell you, the Grand Canyon kind of blew my mind. I honestly looked at it and my brain couldn't kind of comprehend what I was looking at. The scale, the magnitude, just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Now, that being said, I am terrified of heights. So I was walking like 30 feet, 20 feet back from the edge the whole time because I did not want to be too close and look over and God forbid fall. That would be the worst, right? Okay, so other than that, YouTube short, I posted my first standalone edited YouTube short last week. I was really nervous about it, put a lot of effort into it. It was about how to ask for a raise. So if you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, go subscribe, check it out. I think you're gonna like it. I'm always open to feedback, of course. And again, my whole goal is to be more on camera, continue to build out the YouTube channel while delivering, the insights, the expertise I have on the podcast every other week. So that being said, I want to jump into what we're chatting about today. We're going to be talking about moving from a peer to a leader role. So I want to jump into it and talk about why the conversation of moving from a peer to a leader is so important. So first off, the reason why I think it's important is because it's not talked about enough. When I moved from being a peer to a leader, there was no rule book. There was no guidebook. There was no videos to watch. There was no podcast to listen to. So I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. And honestly, it was really challenging. So I don't want you to go through that. So that's why I want to talk about it. I want to share what I've learned, make it easy for you, because you might just think like, oh, we were friends before, I was their peers before, they're going to embrace me as the leader, no problem. That's not always the case. And in fact, I'm going to tell you a kind of a bad story at the end of an example of where it went wrong. So that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the transition between being a peer and a leader and all that comes with. First and foremost, I want to step in and talk about the things you should watch out for. These are the warnings, the things that you want to avoid like the plague if you can. So I remember when it was 2013 and I stepped into my first leadership role, I made some of these mistakes. So I don't want to sit here and pretend like I didn't make them. I made most of these mistakes, and so that's why I want to cover them with you. So number one, the first thing to watch out for, trying to be overly perfect or robotic or changing who you are. So when you're stepping into a new leadership role, right, it can be a little weird. And you might think that the best way to get people to follow you is to act super robotic and super professional and act like you are perfect, right? Because you got to be the leader, you got to be the best. That does not work. People smell that a mile away. And they're going to look at you and say, hey, like 2 weeks ago, we were joking around having fun. And now we're supposed to pretend like you're some perfect executive. Like, come on, man. Like no one's buying it. It feels awkward. It feels inauthentic. So don't fall for this trap. Now, what I'm not saying is that you don't need to adjust your behavior as you move into a leadership role, because of course you do. But what I'm definitely not saying is do not change who you are. So you've heard me say this hundreds of times on the podcast. I'm going to continue to say it again. People follow and respond to people that are authentically themselves. So if you're a humorous type of person, you need to be humorous when you become a leader. Don't just change that. Don't just turn that off. If you're someone who is super organized, continue to be super organized, right? Whatever you did before to get you in that position to get promoted, you want to keep that going, right? But also know that like you're going to potentially lose people if you are changing who you are drastically. People aren't going to respond to it. Number two, micromanaging out of fear. So this is something I kind of struggled with. I felt that I had to control everything when I moved into the new role. That the more I watched the details, that I obsessed about the details, the more success we'd have as a team. It didn't work like that. In fact, when I micromanaged more, the team trusted me less. They pulled back. Performance got worse because they were like, dude, you don't trust us? Like, what's going on? We've been performing this whole time. Why are you suddenly coming into this role and we now need to change what we're doing or report every little detail to you? You don't want to do that. So don't micromanage out of fear. And I would tell you to lead with trust up front. And then if trust is broken, if you need to make adjustments, so be it. Totally okay. But don't micromanage. That is never, ever, ever the answer. Micromanaging does not work. I don't care what you've heard. I don't care if you've seen someone else maybe pull it off successfully. It does not work in the long run. Number 3, expecting everyone to adjust quickly or to like you. So when you go from a peer to a leader, it can feel a little weird, right? And you might expect, or hope, I should say, that everyone is just instantly going to embrace you. Austin, we're so excited to have you here as the leader. You're our guide. You're our guy. We're going to follow you blindly. You're the man. Everything's perfect. You're awesome. No. That's just not how it works now. People are going to take time. It's going to take some time for people to respond to you. They're going to have to change in their brain that, oh my gosh, this was my friend, a peer, someone that I could tell anything to, someone that could be down in the weeds with us. And now, oh, it's my boss. So I've got to figure out, how do I approach that? What do I say? How do I respond? How do I act around him? So give your team some time to adjust to you. It's okay if it's awkward at first. It's going to be. I remember the first month, I felt really awkward because it was really tough in the beginning. Like I would walk into the break room and everyone would get silent. And before, no one would get silent. They'd be like, "Well, what's up, Austin?" And then now when I walk in, it's like everyone's looking around. They don't know how to read the situation or what to say. So give your team some patience. It's going to take them a little time. They need to reframe how they see you in their brain. So number 4, I don't know if you really understand the gravity of this, but as a leader, every single thing you do is being watched and measured. Your team is watching everything you do, how you act, how you treat people, how you communicate, what standards you hold yourself to. And I just want you to realize that as an individual contributor, maybe there wasn't that there, right? You didn't have to worry as much about people watching you all the time. You could kind of cheat things, not ethically, but you could kind of cut corners here and there. You know, maybe you didn't have to be as precise because at the end of the day, no one's watching. But as a leader, everyone's watching. Every single thing you do. And they're going to start to emulate that. So if you are demonstrating good behavior, you might see your team then start to demonstrate good behavior. If you're demonstrating unethical behavior, bad behavior, rude behavior, you might start seeing them show unethical or rude behaviors themselves. So I just want you to realize that's so, so important. So again, the 4 things that I need you to watch out for as you move from a peer to a leader: trying to be overly perfect or robotic, micromanaging out of fear, expecting everyone to adjust quickly or like you. And then number 4, forgetting that people are watching everything. So watch out for those things. Guard yourself to make sure that when you make that transition from peer to leader, it goes smooth and that you don't make those mistakes. So I want to transition slightly and talk about the mindset shifts needed going from a peer to a leader. This is not going to be a cakewalk, and it will take some shifts, some intentional ways that you start to think about things and approach situations. So there's 4 of them that come to mind. I thought back to my career, the shifts that I had to make that were the most helpful. So the first one, you're going to have to shift from focusing on your needs to focusing on their needs. So as an individual contributor, it's safe to assume that on an average day, you were thinking about your own needs. Nothing wrong with that. You didn't have a team to worry about. You were thinking about what you needed, what wasn't going well, what you were going to work on, what was important to you, what were your goals, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, as a leader, the more you think about yourself, the more you will alienate your team and the more you will dampen their performance and all that kind of stuff that you want to see from them. So you have to make the shift from thinking about yourself to thinking about your team. So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? That means when you're going into situations, don't start thinking about what you need. Train yourself to start thinking, what does my team want? What do they need in this situation? How are they feeling? What's going through their mind? So it's going to be weird at first, right? Because you're so used to thinking about your needs and what you want as an individual contributor. But as a leader, you can't do that anymore. So you have to make that shift. And the sooner you can make that shift, the more trust, the more buy-in you're going to see from your team. I've seen that myself, and I know that for a fact that it works. Number 2, you have to make the shift from being comfortable all the time to being uncomfortable. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is as an individual contributor, your comfort was pretty easy, right? You had your own needs to worry about, and as long as those were met, you were pretty good. Things were good. You probably didn't get in a lot of trouble. People stayed out of your way. All good. Been there. I understand what that's like. But as a leader, you have to be comfortable getting out of your comfort zone because that's what it's going to take to be a good leader. So some examples of what I mean by that is you're going to be pulled out of your comfort zone every day. You're going to be asked to do new things. You're going to be put in situations where you've got to maybe mediate stuff between teams or make tough decisions. And every day is going to feel a little weird because you haven't been a leader before and you specifically haven't been the leader of your peers. So I need you to just embrace that it's going to be weird in the beginning. It's going to be uncomfortable. That's okay. You didn't sign up for comfortability with this promotion, becoming a leader. You signed up for the role of a leader. And as the role of a leader, it's going to be uncomfortable. No one's telling you what to do. No one's going to be holding your hand every step of the way. It's going to be up to you to figure out what's best for the team, what you guys want to focus on, what your vision is. And also, I'll be honest with you, it can also be a little uncomfortable sometimes because you're a little bit more lonely. And so, when you're an individual contributor, when you're a peer of everybody, you got friends, you got people you talk to. As a leader, it can feel a little bit more isolating. Maybe you don't have people coming up to you wanting to chat. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind. It's okay that it's going to be uncomfortable. Embrace that early on, and it will set you up for success. Okay, number 3, you have to make the shift from not caring to extreme ownership. So I remember when I was an individual contributor, right? I cared about my own work and that was important, don't get me wrong. But if some other problem was happening within the team, I didn't make it my problem. I didn't take it personally. I didn't really even spend a ton of time trying to solve those problems because I figured, okay, somebody else has got it. The team leader's got it. That team member is going to figure it out themselves. Well, that's just not how it works as a leader. Your team's problems become your problems. So instead of not caring about little things or the details or just the stuff that matters that usually you were, allowing someone else to worry about, it's now your job to start thinking, focusing, and making sure that the details and those things that previously didn't matter to you now matter to you. Right? If you're not caring about those kind of things, nobody else on the team is. That's your new role, to care about the entire team, how it functions, and all that jazz, right? So, and I think at the end of the day, the shift is going from somebody else is going to take care of it to I'm going to make sure it's taken care of. That's the big shift. Super, super important. Got to make that shift. Ownership is absolutely everything in leadership. Okay, moving on. Number 4, you got to go from blending in to setting the tone. As an individual contributor, you could kind of blend in, right? You come in, you show up, you do your work, you clock out, all good, right? You can kind of blend in. You don't have to be the star of the show. You don't have to set the example, set the tone. Didn't really matter. As a leader, it's the exact opposite. There's no coasting anymore. You are setting the tone. The behaviors that you want your team to adopt, the vibe you want to create within your team, it's all on you. So you have to set the tone, which means you have to hold yourself to a higher standard, which of course we'll talk about more later, but you've got to set the tone. No more waiting for someone else to set the tone, to take action. That's on you. Okay, I want to transition a little bit and give you some real strategies. The things that you can start doing to make sure that when you go from that peer role into the leader role, you were set up from day one. So it really starts from taking action day one. And there's a few things that kind of come to mind that I did in order to get a fast start and really make that transition from peer to leader as smooth, as seamless as possible. So a couple things I did. Number 1, serve the team, don't put on an act. I said this from the beginning, but from the start, I don't want you to be worried about how you look or how you sound to your team. If you're worried about looking like a leader, you've already failed. Because leaders don't look a certain way. Leaders are leaders, right? And however they act is how they act. And so I want you to realize you don't need to change or pretend to be something different or try to look really cool or really, put together, because again, like I said in the beginning, people are not going to respond to that. So what I do think you should do is find out what you can do to help your team. That should be your first focus. It shouldn't be the act or how you look. It should be, how can I help my team? If you just put your head down and that is your number 1 goal in the beginning is, what are the problems I can help them solve? What are the roadblocks that I can remove? How can I make their life easier? If you do that, you will get incredibly quick buy-in. Because at the end of the day, people aren't going to be thinking about anything else other than, oh my gosh, look at this guy. He's helping me. Yeah, we love this guy. He's solving our problems. He's making our life easier. Of course we want to follow him, right? Who doesn't want to follow a leader that's actively putting their own needs second and putting the needs of their team first? That's really the key, is to get a fast start. Don't worry about how you look. Worry about how you're serving your team. Okay, number two, don't rush in and change everything. So, as a leader, right, I think you probably want to come in and put your own mark on things and really make sure that you start things off with a bang. And it can be really tempting to come right in and start making changes. Well, this isn't right. We need to change it. And I don't like how we're doing this. And I want to make sure that it's better. And boom, 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 boom. You're going around, you're changing things. And a couple weeks in, the whole team's like, what the heck just happened? The entire team has changed. We're doing things way too fast. Like, whoa, slow down. So, that's the key here. Slow down. For your first month, I probably wouldn't really change much. I would really start to observe, start to build relationships with your team, observe what's going well, what's not going well, take notes, ask for ideas, right? And then feel free to make some changes. But don't come right in and make the changes. It's too fast. The team isn't ready for it yet. You need to earn your stripes. You need to earn their trust and make sure that they feel safe around you and that everything's in a good spot. At that point, absolutely make the changes, make it your own. Another one, I said just a second ago, is meet with everyone one-on-one. I really think the key to getting a fast start and making sure that day one you're successful is you're going around and chatting with people. So I went around to every person in my team, the people that I had been peers with just a couple of weeks prior, and basically told them, here's what they could expect. Hey man, I'm excited for the new role. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to be changing things totally on day one. All I want to do is make sure that our team continues to function well. I want to make sure I tap on you for any ideas you have. I want to figure out what's on your mind. What can I be doing better to serve you? What's been going well here? What hasn't been going well? One-on-one, figure out where they're at, where their head's at, what you can do for them. If you're focused on what they need, again, they are going to respect you more. They're going to buy in more. And honestly, too, you're going to find that the results are better. You're going to find that if you are really working for your team as opposed to them working for you, results will always be better. Okay. Number 4, which is model what you expect. So I've said this multiple times today, and you might think it sounds a little repetitive, but I think it bears repeating. You have to model what you expect. So in the very beginning, if you're going to want to see your team make some changes or start to do things differently, in order for them to do that, you're going to need to model that. You're going to need to show them that. And so I think a couple examples, when I think back to my first time moving from a peer to a leader, I was managing a branch, right, at Bank of America. And we would have a lobby that people would come into. And I told myself that I'm going to be known as the guy who is in the lobby as much as possible. So I would stand out inside the lobby in the front room greeting people for 6 to 8 hours a day. That's where I spent the most of my time. I wanted to be front and center. I wanted to show my team how important our customers were and why being there, attentive, being engaged, and being proactive with our customers was going to be the key to our success. So that was one way. I modeled what I expected. Another one was, I was noticing at my branch, we wouldn't respond to customers who would send us emails very promptly. Sometimes it would take us a week. Sometimes it would take us 5 days. And I'm like, no. We are responding to emails within 24 hours. Bottom line, that's what we're doing. So you better believe I started responding to emails within 24 hours, demonstrating that to the team, giving feedback when it wasn't working, and just really modeling what I expected. So I think at the end of the day, when you're that new leader, they're going to be looking for you to fail. Some of them are, right? Unfortunately, that's just the reality of it. There's going to be some people that maybe are not excited for you to take the job. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they thought they deserve the job. So I need you to realize that might be in the back of their mind. And so they're looking for ways for you to fail. So if you can model what you really want, you're going to eliminate that as a failure. Okay, number 5, which is kind of maybe an underrated one, which is get some key influencers on your team in the beginning. This is so important. There's going to be some people, I can tell you right now in your team, you already know there's a couple of people, maybe 1, maybe 2 people that are the influencers, right? Everyone looks to them. They kind of, set the vibe within the team. People look to them for direction, for advice, for, what they should be looking at and what they should be doing. So if you can get those key influencers on your side early on, game changer. So how do you do it? Well, again, it goes back to meeting with them one-on-one and being brutally honest and saying things like, hey man, the team loves you. You're the guy. Everybody knows that. I need, in order to be successful, I need you on my team. I need your help. I need your support. There's no way I can do it without you. So what do you need to be successful? What can I do to help you? And how are we going to get there? Right? So you're instantly showing them hey, I know your value. I know what role you play. I'm going to help you get better. And I need your help to help us get better as a team. That really, really helped me out. Now, there's always going to be some bad apples, right? And I don't want you to worry about that because you can't control that. And you cannot control how other people feel about you other than the things you can do, right? Which is how you carry yourself and all the things we've covered. So I want to tell you a story about when I first transitioned from being a peer to a leader. And give you kind of a worst case scenario of what it can look like when you make that transition and some of the risks and some of the bad stuff that can happen. So it was my first year as a leader, and maybe we're about 6 to 8 months into my leadership. And I had, obviously been managing all of the people that I used to be peers with just a couple of months prior. And there was a guy named Justin. And me and Justin were close before. Me and Justin would hang outside of work. We'd go out and do social things, hang out in the break room during our lunches. I mean, he was a cool dude. We vibed. It was great, right? So one day Justin comes up to me. It's Thursday, and he says, "Hey, Austin, I need to take Friday and Saturday off. I have some tickets that I won to a music festival. It's really cool. I really, really want to go." Well, normally at that point, we had been making the schedule for all of our employees about a month prior. So at this point, there was just no way that I could let Justin go on this trip, right? I really thought about how could we make it work, but we literally did not have the staff to accommodate our customers, so we had to be there. So unfortunately, I was like, "Hey man, I can't let you go on Friday and Saturday, but what I can do is I can make it up to you. You pick another day that you want in the next couple weeks, in the next month. I will do whatever I can to make sure you get that day off. No worries, man." He was not happy. He didn't like this, right? He begrudgingly kind of walked away from my desk and went back to his work. So no big deal, right? Well, the next day, later that day, he texts me like at night after work and was like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know I'm going to be calling in sick on Friday and Saturday." So, I can tell that he still liked me enough to give me a heads up and not just not show up for work, but he was basically telling me, "Hey man, I'm going to call in sick and I won't be there." And I was just like, "Hey man, you can't call in sick. Like, you're not sick. I need you here tomorrow. Like, you've got to be here. We don't have the staff without you. I know this sucks, but again, I'll try my best to make it up to you, but we got to have you here." So Friday comes around. He shows up to work like 10 minutes late. Strolls in, pissy mood, just not in a good mood, huffing and puffing, just not happy, right? Not happy at all. So I give him some time. I give him like an hour to kind of cool off, get his coffee, do his thing. And I kind of just casually go up to his desk and I'm like, "Hey man, I know you're not happy to be here, but I just want to let you know, I do appreciate you coming in. Again, man, I got you. I'm going to make sure we hook you up, whatever you need in the next couple of weeks, in the next month." And he was not happy. This was just his boiling point. So he looks at me and is like, "Dude, this is fucking crazy. Fuck you. I don't want to be here." So he said literally those words. And I just kind of paused and was like, wow, this guy just really told me to F myself. Okay, what do I do here? So I didn't blow up at him or anything like that. I just said, "Okay, man, sounds like this conversation's done." And I walked away from his desk. And then I called HR because for me, once you cross my line, you cross my line. Like, I will give you respect and trust and everything. I will just give it to you up front without asking for anything in return. But the moment you cross the disrespect line, it just doesn't work with me. I just have that line and that's my line. And I just don't go beyond that line. So I called HR and they said, "You have any right you want to fire this guy. What do you want to do?" So I thought about it and I said, "You know what? I need to fire this guy. He was not respectful. He did it in front of everyone. This is not the vibe I want to set. I want people to know that that's inappropriate and it is never okay to talk to me that way, even if you're upset." So fire him. Later that day, he's obviously pissed and, tries to kind of walk it back. But at that point, it was just too far. So fast forward like 6 months to 8 months later, I'm in the gym working out. And I see Justin walk in the gym. And at first I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. We haven't talked since this point. Like, this guy going to try to beat me up or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to make eye contact and smile. So I make eye contact and smile. He comes running over. We dap it up. We give a hug. "Good to see you, man. No hard feelings. Hope you're doing well. I hope school's going well," whatever, right? And at the end of the day, we brushed it off. It was no big deal. I'm sure he probably wasn't happy that happened to him, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping it set him up for the next thing. I know he was going to school and he was able to focus more on that. And I think he probably learned a good lesson that, like, even if you have a peer, someone that you're friends with and you're upset, you can't treat him that way. And so I tell you that story to show you what could happen when you transition from a peer to a leader. You're going to have some weird feelings and dynamics and things that they maybe felt comfortable saying to you when you were a peer. They may think it's okay to speak to you that way as a leader. It's not. And so you got to realize those are the kind of things that can happen. But if you follow what I told you, right? If you focus on the things to watch out for, if you focus on getting a fast start, if you focus on the team versus yourself and not putting on an act, I know for a fact you'll have a good experience. And even with this bad experience, I still had a good one overall. I was still able to get everyone else in the branch to follow along, and we were able to achieve some amazing things in that branch. But Yeah, it was a tough one, and I thought you get a kick out of me sharing that with you today. So I want to transition slightly, wrap up with a challenge. So I would like to give you something, a little bite-sized something that you could work on. And I want you to do yourself a favor, and I want you to look at how you've carried yourself the last month. And I want you to ask yourself this question: what would I need to change if I got promoted today? So if the answer is not really anything, you're doing fantastic. You're right where you need to be. I don't want you to worry about it. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you ask yourself that question and there's a list of things you would need to change, what are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting to change those things for? Are you waiting for the title? Because remember, leadership isn't a title. It's how you act. It's how you carry yourself. So make those changes, hold yourself to a higher standard. And if you run into this situation where you're moving from a peer to a leader, I'm confident you're going to be able to handle it. Focus on the right things. Don't make it about you, make it about them, and you're going to find success. So I want to say thank you so much for listening. Make it a great day.